So today is September 11th, a day that will live on as one of the most frightening and devastating days in American history. Like the bombing of Pearl Harbor or the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, this day changed the world drastically. The idea of a world where the Trade Center never fell, where so many people never died, is unfathomable because of how far-reaching these events were. I remember it was a Tuesday, and we were sitting in school, and we were having class as normal. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, the principal comes on the intercom and says, teachers are advised to turn on the televisions and turn to Channel 2 News or Channel 10 News, one of the two. Channel 7 I don't think was broadcasting yet. And so the teacher turned on the TV, and the first image I see is this billow of smoke coming out of the top of a tower, and I'm like, what the heck? What tower is that? Where is this? And they say something about this is the World Trade Center in New York City, and apparently it had caught fire. That's what they thought at the time, because they didn't yet understand what had happened. There were very few eyewitness accounts yet that had actually been released or been taken. Video later surfaced, actually, of the first plane hitting the first tower, and it's surreal. But as the minutes and hours dragged on, about 45 minutes after the TV was turned on, the second plane hit. I saw this plane coming out from, I think it was the left side of the screen, and just coming slowly around and coming toward the tower, and I'm like, no, this can't be real. This can't be what's happening. And I see the explosion coming out of the other side, and I'm like, oh my God, how many people were on that plane? How many people died instantly? And then I got to thinking later on, just a couple minutes later, I'm like, I wonder if these buildings are built for this kind of impact. And not even a minute later, I think it was about 45 minutes after the second plane had hit or whatever, when I thought to myself, I wonder how well the towers will take this kind of an impact. And not even 10 minutes later, the first tower falls. And I start to see it as it starts falling. And I'm like, my God, I hope the people got out in time. And I know they didn't. I know they didn't, because we have over 2,000 that are recorded dead in that day. I know they didn't. But I'm like, and as soon as I saw the first tower falling, I start counting. I start counting because I know the second tower is going to go. I know it's going. I was a very smart kid. I wish I weren't. I wish I would have been more ignorant that day. I wish I wouldn't have been able to see things unfolding in my mind's eye before it unfolded on the screen, because we saw so much devastation. We saw so much tragedy that day. Too many people died. I remember close to 11 o'clock, maybe noon, we were finally released, and my mom came and got me. And she takes me home, and we just sit on the couch and watch the television as the news continues to unfold. And as the president comes on and he starts talking about invading, and that it was this group called al-Qaeda, which I'm like, they hadn't said it yet, but they had the name on the screen, and I'm like, al-Qaeda. And then I learned the real name, it's al-Qaeda, and it's like, what is happening? And in the hours following, I see the second tower fall. I see the devastation. I see the cloud of smoke coming out of the debris. I see people covered in ash and soot. I see children screaming for their parents. I see a nation broken. And in the days and weeks that followed, I see more devastation as memorials are held and troops leave for foreign soil. But I also saw hope in those hours that day. I saw first responders going above and beyond the call of duty to try and save as many as possible. I see people on the street helping one another, even if they don't know the other person from Adam. I see children being held by complete strangers and being told it's going to be fine. It's going to be all right. Well, find your parents. It's okay. I see a nation mourning the loss of so many and yet vowing never again. Vowing we will rebuild. Vowing we will become stronger. And I wonder, are we stronger today than we were then? Are we stronger today, here and now, than we were 17 years ago? To be completely honest, I can't say we are. I can't say we are because we have a divided nation right down party lines, and even within party lines. We have subdivisions of a division, and we have divisions of that division. We have people undermining the authority of fellow lawmakers for their own ideals and for their own interests. We have people that are actively condemning people for doing their job. We have people that are dying for no other reason than just stupidity. And there is still war. And there is still suffering. And there is still needless sacrifice. All in the name of America. How much longer? How many more have to die? How many more must sacrifice while we remain complacent? While we remain indignant that we have done nothing wrong? How many more will live in the shadow of this, one of the worst events in history? How many? How many? This has been The Wandering Wind, and I thank you for your consideration and your time. I pray for those who are hurting, for those who have lost and are still losing. I pray for those who are still scarred and wounded, and when they close their eyes can still see the devastation of that day and the days to follow. Thank you for serving us, men and women. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for doing your best to keep our country safe. May God's blessing be upon you.